EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Football Friday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. A little delayed start on this Friday, but we're here to give you 2 hours of power to close out the week strong. Johnny Mac, how you doing on this Football Friday, brother?
Doing well. Yeah, we're getting closer and closer. So we cross off a few more of these Football Fridays, and we'll be right back into it.
Yeah, 76 days away, John. 76 days away is the official countdown until the Philadelphia Eagles season kicks off. It's coming quick, everybody. So mark it on the calendar, 76 days. That's not very long. It's 2.5 months. So not too long there. We got a great show planned for everybody today, John. We got a new guest here on Birds 365. I'm looking forward to having Oscar Budajin. That's how you pronounce it, right? Budajin?
I believe so. It's funny because I just say Oscar. It's always one of those things. I've never called him by his last. Why would I? Well, he'll correct us if we're wrong, but that's what I'm going with.
There you go. I'll go with Oscar Budajin. So he'll join us in hour number 2. We got a great breakdown of plenty of other things here on Birds 365. We'll get into some good topics today as well. So let's do that now. Johnny Mac, let's start it off. I want to start it off today on Reed Blankenship, my friend. Reed Blankenship, we were talking about our position groupings. A couple days ago, we ranked the position groups, and you had safety ranked as the worst position group. And in that ranking, you mentioned Reed Blankenship and maybe even threw out a speculation that he could be signed before week 1. What do you think happens here with Reed Blankenship? What do you think the organization thinks of that player? Because with that room being weak, they did draft Sidney Brown in the 3rd round, and they did draft Drew Makuba in the 2nd round this past draft that just passed. So it's an interesting room with a lot of ways to go. What do you think on Reed Blankenship and the upcoming contract discussion with him?
Yeah, I when I ranked that position group, it had nothing to do with Reed Blankenship. He's the only certain part of it. He's the he's the foundational part of it. He's turned into a very good player. And the Eagles like him a lot. Leader of the secondary, as Vic Fangio explained, and that created one of the CJ dust-ups, which was kind of silly because, that was on Slay's podcast. And, if you listen to Slay, if you listen to Vic, he was already the leader last year, the on-field leader. Now, this, sort of the in the locker room leader was more of Slay, the team captain, but the nature of playing left corner, you can't communicate with the right corner. You're all the way over on, so it's got to be a safety. And it was already Reed Blankenship, and Slay kind of just let everybody in on that secret, which shouldn't have been a secret. And for whatever reason, CJ took it in a negative way. But getting back to Reed, he's a foundational piece of this team. The Eagles have this history of extending somebody a day or two, sometimes the day before the season starts. They've done it with Jordan Mailata in the past. I think that's going to be Reed this year, or it might be done before that. I mean, I don't think it's going to. Unfortunately for him, he is an undrafted free agent, so that limits his, even though it shouldn't, it's just the reality of the situation. So I think it's going to be one of the easier deals to get done, and I think the Eagles will get it done.
Yeah, where do you think that comes in? I mean, you bring up the undrafted free agent, and as good of a player as he's been, you do see how that affects players. Now, fans did not acknowledge that it does affect players, but Jordan Mailata has been to what was the stat we said the other day about how many all pro bowls Jordan Mailata has been to? So it's like
0.
Yeah, 0. So it's like it does have an effect. Where do you think that money comes in, John? I mean, you got Carter coming up. If Nolan has 10 sacks, is he a $25 million player? Where do you think the money with Reed Blankenship comes in? Because, boy, there's a lot of guys to pay on defense.
No, obviously, it's not in the Jalen Carter realm or even Nolan Smith projected going forward. But even if you look at the position, the guys, I think Kirby Joseph got the highest deal this offseason. He surpassed Antoine Winfield. So he's not in the category of being in the guy to set the markets like some of the other Eagles will be coming up. So if you look at the top safeties, the top 10 ends at 15 million per year. I think we'll come under that, probably in the 12, 13 range would be my guess.
Wow, that's high.
Well,
I
not
was thinking 8 to 9.
I mean, I would fight for 15. I think people don't look at what's going on in the league and how salaries have exploded. And the nature of contracts, you get more. I mean, and the salary cap's going up. So that factors into it. It's going up next year. This is going to be a multi-year deal. It's going up next year. It's going up next year. So all of a sudden, the minute you sign the contract, you're sort of depreciated. Yeah, I think that all harkens back. I think your thought process and all harkens back to the undrafted stuff, and people, for whatever reason, and that hurts those types of guys.
Yeah.
But I mean, 12, 13, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That would make him probably the 15th highest paid safety.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I would, if I'm his agent, I'd say, look, this guy's leader of Super Bowl winning secondary with the #1 passing defense. That's my argument.
How's he grade out, like on PFF?
He grades out well. He sort of went down a little bit last season. I'd have to look it up, but still well. Again, he's not in the category of those top guys, which is now Kirby Joseph. But
is he above 15, 15, 16, 17th paid safety in the NFL? That's the question.
Oh, I think so. I don't think you could find 15 safeties better than Reed Blankenship right now. It's hard to, unless you want to go the route of Slay and Quinyon and Cooper are picking him up. But I think you saw the play starting in week 1, basically, when he saved the game with the diving interception in Brazil, or potentially clinch the game at least. Yeah, I don't. It's hard to break past that undrafted label for people to get you to believe in a guy. But what has Reed Blankenship done? And I ask that of not you, but everybody. What has Reed Blankenship done that has made you uncomfortable with him? Anybody out there?
Well, I don't think it's certainly not that for me. And I love the player, and I'd be happy to have him in Philly for a while if they got the deal done. I'm just looking at it from the business perspective of we've identified a demarcation line this year where you let guys or you trade guys like CJ Gardner-Johnson. I know there was other things there. I'm just saying they've clearly established that they have to be disciplined in decision-making on personnel. Does he fall well above that line? Is it a question? I think him and Jordan Davis are kind of a similar. I think they're going to pay him. I'm not sure they're going to pay. Like Jalen Carter, I know they're going to pay. If Nolan Smith produces, I know they're going to pay. I don't know that about Reed yet. I think they are, but I don't know it.
Well, I think where the Davis description may be on the field, but where that comparison goes off the rails is the 13th overall pick versus the undrafted guy.
That's true.
And that's Reed. The latter is obviously Reed's issue. And it's a different issue from a different perspective with Jordan. But yeah, I mean, so last year, as I mentioned, he was a little bit down, but he was late in the season. He was 29th of 98, which is still good. The year prior, ironically, he was 18th, and the year prior was 9th. He was top 10. So from the larger perspective of things, And again, I think you have to look at those grades in context and what happened. And he was playing, he slipped a little bit late in the season. Why? No, he had a couple injuries, but nothing serious. So you look at, playing 21 games and all that kind of stuff and all the snaps he plays. He's out there every play. He's out there every snap. This is the first time, by the way, in Reed Blankenship's young career where he didn't take every snap in minicamp and OTA. Before that, I remember coming into the 2023 season, I guess it was, where everybody was like, all right, who's going to be the starting safety? Who's going to be the starting safety? And Reed took the first snap in practice and never left. Literally every first team rep. So maybe the wear and tear, all that kind of stuff, but still a young guy, still an ascending player. The Eagles have him above that demarcation line, but part of that is, and they want to get him extended, but part of that is probably, to be fair, probably the belief that they can get him a little bit cheaper than they probably should because of the undrafted stuff.
Right. And where do you think that line would lie for the Eagles? Is it 13 million? Is it 10 million? Is it 15 million? Where do you think that line would be in the SAM where they would say, okay, I can't go there?
Well, it's definitely not. It's definitely 15. I don't think they'd go to 15. But if you look at Cam Bynum, who signed for 15 million in this offseason, exactly that number. Like Reed Blankenship's better than Cam Bynum. I mean, like if I'm Reed's agent, I'm fighting for 15. But I don't think he can get there. And that's part of winning.
Cam Bynum was a 4th round pick in the 2021 draft.
But Reed's better.
Yeah, I know. I was just looking it up because we've talked about, the pedigree of Reed and how that's hindering him a little bit potentially.
Yeah, and it will continue. And there's a bunch of guys in the top 15 that he's better than, but not a ton, but a few. And then you start. So I don't know where Reed is. I mean, he's not the type of guy that's going to create waves. He's not the type of guy who's going to go to his agent and say, I need every single penny, at least from my perspective, but maybe he is.
3 years, $39 million. You taking that if you're the Eagles, not Reed. I think Reed would take that deal. If you're the Eagles, do you take that deal?
Yeah, I got him right in 12, 13 million. And I think they want to, because that's very manageable from the way we talked yesterday about avoidable contracts. That will not be 13 million against the cap.
No.
That kind of stuff is very manageable. And I think they want to reward their own players. And you point, one of the reasons Sidney Brown's getting an opportunity and Drew Makuba's getting an opportunity is because of their draft pedigree. But who are you more comfortable with?
Well, I think the answer to that is very obvious. But what about a scenario here where we go into training camp? Drew Makuba looks good by Vic Fangio's standards. Sidney Brown looks good by Vic Fangio's standards. Is Howie like, do we need to pay Reed Blankenship? Do you think is that plausible to happen, or has Reed been identified as he's going to be here? Like Jalen Carter, doesn't matter how good Ty Robinson plays. Now Jalen Carter is an extreme example. He's so damn good. But you get what I'm getting at. Has Reed earned that, or is it possible to shake, you think, if Sidney and Drew look good?
No, I don't see any scenario where they play to the level of Reed Blankenship. Certainly to enough to where they say we don't need him. And I think he's already past the crux of he's one of the guys they want back. But again, part of that baked in is they think they can get probably a better deal than they should. And they're probably right. They're probably right. It's tough with all those guys, all undrafted free agents, to overcome that label. Because I mean, people's doubts with Reed Blankenship have nothing to do with football. You'll hear people talk about him, and they'll talk about, well, is he athletic enough? That kind of nonsense. Is he? Sometimes they miss scouts. Sometimes they miss. And one of the things, he was like he's also a leader. He's the leader in the locker room. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a team captain this year to replace Slay. One of the things, you get labeled for, especially when you play at Middle Tennessee State, which ironic, Kevin Byard played there. So they've done some good jobs developing safeties. But he played for 5 years, and he's a 5-year starter. And all that, the mentality is, why are you staying 5 years in college? If you're good enough, why aren't you going to the pros? And right from the get-go, you're like labeled. And then you look at the athleticism stuff, and he's 6 foot 203, and he runs a 4.55. It's pretty good for a safety, over 205 pounds. I go back to Adam Thielen. Nick Sirianni talked that. So I lived through Adam Thielen. I lived through John Randall. It happens. But it's really difficult for those guys to break through on the business end and get and shake that label. Eventually, when you make it to the Hall of Fame, you shake that label like John Randall. And I always bring up that quote from Nick. He's like, when I asked him about tryout players in rookie camp, he's like, you only have 2 days with them. You only have a very short window. How do you get a good beat on him? And his first question is like, just don't miss Adam Thielen. Meaning, if somebody stands out to the degree, give them a chance, give them an opportunity. And that was Reed. And that's what we were talking about. Taylor Morin with BLG. He's a little regarded undrafted free agent this year. But the Eagles need a punt returner. And guess what? Britton Covey's gone. They don't want Cooper DeJean to do it. We all know Cooper can do it, but they don't want him to do it. Nia Smith hasn't developed any trust. Avery Williams can't get on the field. The same thing, if you go back to when Britton got here, the same thing happened. Well, he's too small.
Right.
The story of, his first preseason game, they wouldn't let him in the players' parking lot because they didn't believe he was a player, which was a true story. And I think about, and everybody's like, oh, this guy's got no shot. And there he is leading the league in punt return average a couple of years later. Yeah, why can't that be Taylor Moore? And he did the same thing. He played a long time at Wake Forest. He's their all-time leading receiver. He was one of the best punt returners in the country. Why can't that happen to him?
It could. Taylor Moore in love today on a Football Friday.
Well, I mean, sometimes they miss with undrafted.
No, you're
guys.
right.
And Reed Blankenship, they missed.
Absolutely.
He should have been drafted, and he wasn't. And he's turned into one of the top 20 safeties in the NFL.
Sometimes I think the system too creates misses. Like he went to Middle Tennessee, So was it the scouts that missed him, or was it the whole process where he didn't get recruited early, didn't go to a Power 5 school, doesn't get in front of the right scouts as much as he would have if he went to a different school, and then kind of everything took a domino effect, and then he ends up.
Well, yeah, I mean it's harder, but at these days they usually find you. I mean Kevin Byard was a 3rd round pick, going to Middle Tennessee. It's not, Middle Tennessee isn't small enough to where they're not looking at it.
Yeah, it's true.
Alex Hunt, they found at freaking Houston Christian.
It's true. It's a good point. All right, so predict the Reed contract. What do you think it would be? 2 years, 3 years, 4 years?
I think 12, 13, 3 years, somewhere in that range.
Around that 39 million mark. I don't know what the guarantees would be, maybe 26, 25, 30 million, somewhere in that range probably.
Yeah, and I still expect it to get done before the start of the regular season. But, hey, to your point of if Makuba and Sidney Brown start to look like Ronnie Lott, all right, things change quickly. But I don't see that happening.
Yep. John, you mentioned how Darius Slay talked about Reed Blankenship as a leader last year, and it's evident that he's really stepped into that role. You even just mentioned that you wouldn't surprise you if he was a captain on the football team this year. Post departure of Slay, at 26 years old, outside of Adoree Jackson, who's not slotted to start right now, Reed Blankenship will be the oldest guy in that secondary at 26. He just turned 26 in March. All right, you got Cooper, you got Quinion, you got Makuba, you got Sidney Brown. I mean, all of those, Keely Ringo, all these young guys. How does his role change now coming into this year, do you think, on the football field?
On the field, it doesn't change much at all. I mean, he was, like I said, he was the leader last year. He'll be the leader this year. And he's just going to get better. And sort of like Zach Bond was saying on Cooper and Quinion, not Quinion, Cooper and Reed's podcast, they're more comfortable this year. They're miles ahead, whatever. I forget the phrasing Zach used, but miles ahead of where they were last year. And that's because they were learning what Vic wanted. So for the guys here, it should be easier for them. Now it's hard to live up to the number one pass defense. Everybody's got to, that's got more to do with execution. But as far as understanding the defense, yeah, it's only going to get better. And he's a very smart player to begin with. So that's very, that's something that Big is very cognizant of, guys with high football IQs. And that's another thing about playing 5 years in college. A lot of times it's viewed as a negative. Sometimes it's a positive because you know how to play. That's why I bring up Britton, who played 6 years in college, and Taylor, who played 5 years in college. They know how to play. Whereas, guys who don't have as much experience, like Cameron Williams, started 1 year. People are saying, well, maybe he'd be a first round pick. He doesn't know how to play yet. Keely Ringo, it's off the charts from a physical perspective. Right. And you saw before that draft, there were people who had him in the first round of the draft because of his physical gifts, but he barely played. And he didn't know how to play, and he had to be taught and developed, and hopefully it pays off this year for the Eagles. But so sometimes playing all that college football, and Reed was a long-time starter. I think he was a 5-year starter. He knows he got here and he knew how to play. And that's what they noticed. First off, he's always in the right position. He's the third string safety, barely getting any reps, and he's slowly rising up. And none of us had him on those goofy spring 53-man projections. Nobody was like, he's got no shot. He's got no shot. And all of a sudden, by year 2, he's taking every rep at every practice, never mind game. So, yeah.
How much do you think the loss of C.J. Gardner-Johnson affects Reed, or not at all?
Well, we have to, that has more to do with the other guy, as Vic would say, than anything else. Yeah, I mean, that the other guy's probably not going to be nearly the playmaker that CJ is. On the other hand, maybe they're a little bit more disciplined. So maybe that makes it a little bit easier on Reed. So it depends what you look at. But if you're looking for big plays, and most people, let's be honest, most people are worried about big plays and splash plays and highlights. And you're probably going to have less highlights without CJ. Is how I would describe it.
Yeah, which I don't think is a big deal. Good stuff there, Johnny Mac. John, what do you think of that overall age, man? You've been around a lot of football teams. You've covered this game for a long time. You've covered this team now for, I think, going on almost 10 years now, since you came here to cover the Eagles. Is this too young? I mean, I think they're one of the youngest teams in the league. I think someone in the chat there puts it, I don't know if this is correct, around the fourth youngest team in the league, maybe average age is 26. Now, this comment is also correct. The war of attrition is won by the young. And now that's true. But any concern that you've gone young, but maybe too young?
A little bit, but not much. I mean, if you look at guys like Reed and Jordan Davis, I mean, people gravitate towards them. So I think leadership is more about connecting with people. And the Eagles were lucky enough to have, it wasn't because Brandon was old and Slay was old. They connect with people.
Right. I think experience has a factor too.
Well, experience, I mean, demonstrated performance. You can't be a leader if you stink.
Obviously.
I mean, but they're good players as well. So they're young, but they have some mature youth. Jalen, we always joke, Jeffrey Lurie called him the most mature 25-year-old he ever met, which, now he's 26. But yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts is incredibly mature for his age. And he's the on-field leader of the entire team. Saquon's very mature and very humble and which surprises me. I talk about that all the time.
Very vocal too, Saquon.
He's not that vocal, really.
Oh, really? I feel like I watch the unscripted, and he's always, walking by. Let's go, stay in it, and it's good. I like it, but I feel like
I wouldn't say like I'm gonna like Brandon and Slayer. Like,
that might be a different level.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, so that's what I kind of compare it to. He's more understated. AJ's a leader, but in a different kind of way. Everybody's just in awe of him, that type of thing. And
I agree. He's in pursuit of excellence, and I think everybody around him watches him, and that's how he leads them.
Yeah. So, and then you have the Lane, obviously, and Landon, Cam, Jordan. Probably Jordan more than anybody. Jordan's probably the most vocal leader now. That's amazing. Everything about Jordan Mailata is amazing.
Yeah.
He's probably the most vocal leader, I would say, on the team now that BG and Slay are out. I would say that is his mantle. And then defense, where they're really young, like Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, and Reed Blankenship are just natural leaders. Like, people gravitate towards them. And they're all back. So I don't think it's going to be an issue. But Slay and BG are unique people. So I think it's also going to be a little bit different.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yes or no, Johnny Mac? Reed Blankenship will have a better year this year than he had last year.
Yeah, I think he will, because I think that was his worst year as a NFL player.
Even with the number one defense around him, though.
Yeah, but he didn't play poorly, but he just played, and maybe that was more responsibility as well in Vic's defense, and he's going to get better understanding that. Yeah, so he didn't have a bad year, but he was just, when he was forced into it as a rookie, he played really well, shocked people. Second year was, one of the best safeties in football again, even though, and really they're only sort of cognizant. I think people forget, like, he was the guy, he was not playing in the playoff game, which was a big issue, real big issue. And they had to play Abante Maddox at safety. Right. Was a really big issue. So yeah, I think he will have a better season because just of being more comfortable, and he's got a lot of responsibilities.
Yeah, I think it's grown a lot. I mean, I know the on-field stuff is going to be a lot of the same, but I do think, I mean, he's the oldest guy in the secondary. I think people are going to be looking to him to be the anchor in that secondary.
Well, he was already that. That's what I said. It doesn't change. He
Yeah,
was
but there
already
was a
that.
little bit. There was other variables that offset some of that. I'm not saying he wasn't the anchor, but it wasn't all on him. All the pressure wasn't pulling on him. I think more of it is now.
Well, I think. I mean, he was the leader, the on-field leader of the secondary last year. He'll be the on-field leader of the secondary this year. As far as playmaking, that comes, that comes in the flow of the game, and it's not like they need him. Like I think because I hate over-unders and things like over-under 4 interceptions, Reed Blankenship. Well, like you can't project shit. Like,
Yeah.
Well, how are games going? How are things going? I'll tell you this: if he thinks he's got to make more plays because CJ's not here, he's going to piss Vic the fuck off. It's like, do your job.
A little effort football Friday, Johnny Mac.
Well, because I think that's how way too many people look at it. Like, whoa, you're losing CJ. He's got to do more from a number standpoint. I go, that's the best way to get in Vic's doghouse.
Yeah. Start getting out of position and making undisciplined plays. I don't expect Reed to do that. I think early in his career, maybe a couple times he got caught there, but overall,
everybody gets caught. It's the NFL, man.
I think he's really become a sound safety, though, very sound in his role.
I was talking when G was on last year, Gary Cobb, and I'm glad he said it because I get, Jordan Mailata got ran over by Jared Verse or Nolan Smith got. Fucking everybody gets their clock cleaned. I'm cursing a lot this morning because I'm like, if you play in the NFL from Myles Garrett on down, Myles Garrett has gotten his clock cleaned in the NFL.
That's hard to believe.
Doesn't happen often. Doesn't happen often. And when he's here, I'll try to ask him that question.
Yeah, I was gonna say they got the joint practice here in Philly. I'm excited for that.
Doesn't happen often, but it happens because if you don't, it's all just a leverage thing. And if you get off balance, and there's another, in the case of Jordan Mailata, 380-pound man, and you're off balance, good luck.
You're toast.
You're going for a ride.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that happens to everybody. Everybody.
No doubt about it. John, you don't think they're going to add a safety, right? I mean, you mentioned just that you mentioned it was the worst position group when we did our ranking. You don't think they're adding?
No, I think they're very hopeful over Drew Makuba and Sidney Brown. Well, probably in Vic's case, Drew Makuba more than Sidney, but in Howie's case, both. And if they show, I think that's a position that if they show up in training camp and it becomes evident to Vic that, all right, they're not ready yet, then, and Justin Simmons is still out there.
I got Justin Simmons name fatigue.
I know. Well, and the same thing with Alexander. Till he signed, it was always going to be a thing.
Yeah, but that was at least a little shorter lived. I feel like I've been hearing about Justin Simmons for years.
Well, it has been years because, he's a free agent last year, and he has the history with Vic, and he's been on podcasts with Kay Adams, lobbying basically to play with Vic. So I mean that's a situation that makes sense from a lot of people's perspective, but from the Eagles, and again, I point to what they've done this offseason. Don't listen to what they say. Listen to see what they do. 12 free agents, all got 1 year, all less than $3 million. They have rebooted things, preparing for the future. And then the other part is, again, you talked about the youth. You talked about Justin Simmons will be 32 during the season in November. He's a descending player. It's just not what they want to do. They're
Yeah,
forced to do it, but they have enough youth and guys with upside to say we can wait, and if things go in a poor direction, we can.
I'm going to go on record and say,
and by the way, remember Cooper's a big part of this as well, because
that's huge. Yeah, it's true.
If everything falls apart, they could play Cooper at safety. They can play Cooper. That's their belief in Cooper DeJean.
Have you ever heard the song, John? Cooper DeJean is not a safety. Have you heard that on social media?
I have not.
What? You and silly. And neither of you have heard this song. It's like every time Cooper DeJean made a play last year, it was posted all over the place. But no, yeah, we'll see. I think he is a big part of it for sure.
Cooper's whatever the Vic decides he is.
Yeah. You got to listen to. I got to send you. You got to listen to the Cooper DeJean song. He's becoming a star, Johnny Mac in Philly. I love it. It's good stuff with him. Let's get to some super chats. I want to thank everybody for being here this morning. We got Oscar Budajin coming up in about 15 minutes here on Birds 365. John, he's the voice of the Eagles in Espanol, in Spanish, right?
Yeah, he and Ricky.
So he's the color commentator on the Spanish broadcast.
Yeah.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Great dude. Everybody likes Oscar. And I imagine the listeners will like Oscar as well.
Yeah, he just emailed me back. So he's confirmed, ready to rock and roll in about 15 minutes. So we'll be getting Oscar Budajin. Again, I want to thank you all for being here. Hit that like button, guys. We've been crushing it on Birds 365 for the offseason on the like department. So it's one of the best things you can do to just keep the viewership coming for us and help us grow as a show and as a channel. So thank you all very much. Hit the like button for us. Let's get up to 100 to 150 today for a Football Friday. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel. We cover the Eagles all day long here, all year long. So we appreciate each and every one of you. Let's get to some super chats now. Fly Parks checking in. What's up, Fly? J-Mac, been seeing good reports on Mac McWilliams. What's your take?
Yeah, it's McWilliams. Mac McWilliams. He did look pretty good at minicamp. Again, it's one day. And they started that was the first time we only saw 3 practices over the spring. And he played outside corner. A lot of people project him inside, but he played outside corner in college for the most part, the vast majority of time. But he's a little bit undersized, so the long-term projection by most when they were scouting him was as an inside player. And the Eagles started him outside, which typically that's what Vic does. He starts you where you're most comfortable, so they start him outside. And I thought it would be till training camp before they started cross-training him, but they put them in there and put him in there in the slot during the minicamp practice. And he looked pretty good. He looked, I don't want to overstate it, but I think he's going to be the 5th corner on the team behind the 3 starters, which will be Quinyon and Kaylee Ringo, I think, outside, Cooper inside. And then Adoree Jackson will be the Isaiah Rodgers of the mix. But, even more so with more versatility, because Adoree can play inside and outside. So you probably get more experience, more versatility. I don't know if he's going to play as well as Rodgers did, but
you think that's it for Eli Ricks? Is he on the outs?
Well, not necessarily, but he's probably going to be the 6th corner again if he makes it. And again, his 3rd season. At what point do you? I mean, what is the point? He doesn't play special teams that much or that well, so. To me, this is a make or break year for Eli Ricks. He's got to prove that, maybe he's better than Mac McWilliams and Adoree Jackson. Otherwise,
could be it.
Well, I mean, he's still on his rookie deal, but
could be it in Philly.
I think there was a thought process after his rookie season, and he made the big interception in the preseason game against a 4th-string quarterback, that this guy could turn into something. Because again, we talk about pedigree. His pedigree was 5-star recruit. His pedigree was LSU. His pedigree, this might be a 1st-round pick. Going into his final year in college when he transferred to Alabama, this might be a first round pick. And then he ran a 4.6 whatever and didn't get drafted. But he's got pretty good ball skills, and I think that resonates with people. Plus that pedigree. And there was the hope that he would turn into the player he was supposed to be at college. But if you run a 4.6 and play corner in the NFL, it's going to be tough to put you on the field a lot.
Yeah, it's true. Fly, thank you for the super chat, brother. Appreciate it. Here's Kimberly checking in. What's up, Kimberly? IQ matters. Nolan was a mathematics major at Georgia. I think he started in engineering and then went to mathematics.
He's a smart dude.
Yeah, real smart. Him and all the Nakobe. A lot of smart dudes on this team, John.
Yeah, Nakobe, I think, was the
engineer. Yeah.
I
think Nolan started in engineering and then went to mathematics. I don't know where I read that, but I read that somewhere.
Yeah. But to me, it means more with Nakobe because Nakobe's at a cerebral position, right. Like Reed and Nakobe run the defense on the field when they're out there. Whereas pass rusher, just go get the quarter, basically. So but it's a little bit more complicated in Vic's defense because you do have to drop occasionally, and you do have some other responsibilities. So it never hurts to have a high football IQ, and Nolan's got a very high football IQ, and so does a bunch of guys. So it never hurts, but to me, it's more like middle linebacker. You want a smart guy, free safety. You want a smart guy, and that's what the Eagles have.
Yep. No doubt about it. Do you agree with this comment? It's not a super chat. I'll get to my next super chat, but Sonny Bucket says, I seen more out of Ricks in that preseason than I ever seen out of Ringo, to be honest. I don't know if he's wrong.
Well, he saw a pick six. That's what he saw. But, I mean, what is the context of that pick six?
Yeah, right. I thought did he do anything else? No? Not really?
No, not really. But he does have good ball skills. But, I mean, like, that's a silly statement. No offense.
But comp it to Keeley, who was also playing in the preseason.
Well, again, Keeley's played in NFL games and has been one of the best gunners on special teams in the NFL. What has Eli Ricks given you in an actual NFL game?
Yeah. No, nothing. Well, he did play a couple of games, right? Like early.
He played some in the nickel, and by the way, that was unfair because he's not a nickel. But they had to run through. They had so many injuries when he was a rookie.
Says he clamped up Tyreek Hill.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Come on, Jesus Christ! Do you think? And I'm sorry for bringing. Do you think if he could clamp up Tyreek Hill? Do you think he wouldn't be playing? I mean, what gets in the fans' minds? Like,
come on, Joe!
Because he locked him up on one play. Again, they're NFL players. I mean, what? So you're presumably you have one play in your head where he clamped up in your mind. You have no idea what the defense is, no idea if it's zone coverage, man coverage, what it is. I guarantee he's not running with Tyreek Hill. There's Olympic sprinters that might have a tough time running with Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, right.
What I mean, and if he could do that, why isn't he playing? Forget about this year.
He says one hit wonder, but it happened.
Yeah, one hit wonder is right.
Joe, good stuff. One more super chat. Alfredo says
that was not good stuff. Do not say that. That was not good stuff.
Not good stuff. Alfredo says, did you see the new unscripted? Read extension soon. I don't know what happened. I didn't see the new unscripted.
I haven't seen it, but yeah, it's coming. I mean, it's coming. There's no doubt it's coming.
Dro, bad stuff. Bad stuff, Dro.
He locked down Tyreek. What are we doing?
Oh man, Johnny Mac, you're funny. All right, Johnny Mac's got some humor to him on this football Friday. All right, let's get to our commercial break. We got Oscar Buttigieg coming up. looking forward to talking to Oscar. Should be a great segment. Always love getting a new guest here on Birds 365. And we're getting the voice of the Eagles and Espanol. So looking forward to doing it with Oscar. That's coming up next here on Birds 365. Hit that like button for us. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Thrill Seekers and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome back in, everybody, to a Football Friday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, John McMullen. Give us follows on X at Zander Krause and at JF McMullen, one of the best Eagles follows. Johnny Mac, training camp coming up, man. A couple of weeks, about a month out now. It's June 20th. They report, July 22nd, right?
Yeah, July 22nd, a little bit earlier this year, which I'm dreading, but nonetheless, we'll see how it works.
Was it like a week earlier now, right?
Yeah, usually would be the next week, but preseason.
Shorter off season gets even shorter, John.
Yeah. And I'm sure they'll start slowly. So they'll practice Wednesday, probably take off Thursday. Who knows? But we'll see when the schedule comes out. But yeah, it's coming. It's creeping up on us.
It's creeping up quick, man. It feels like just yesterday the Birds were Super Bowl champions. In February.
They still are.
They still are, but you know what I mean. It feels like yesterday they just raised the trophy.
Although the different iteration, as Nick Sirianni will point out. It's only one team. It's only one Super Bowl 59 champion. And a bunch of those guys are gone. That's how the NFL works.
Yep, new iteration of the Eagles coming up next here. And we got a new iteration of Birds 365 coming up next with Oscar Budajin joining us now from he is the voice of the Eagles and the Phillies. And
the Phillies.
And the Phillies. Yeah, so that's great. I'm going to have to slip a Phillies question in on Oscar. Let's bring him up right now here on Birds 365. Oscar, how you doing, my friend? Great to have you on.
Good morning, guys. Johnny Mac, Zander. How are you guys? Great to be here.
Yeah. Oscar, good to see you, bud. Yeah, big weekend for the Phillies. Yeah, Phillies met exact same record coming in, right?
It's
45,
it's
30?
just amazing. I mean, this has been a roller coaster. 3 weeks ago, we were in the top of the world. Then the Mets got hot. I mean, playing against the Colorados of this world, and suddenly now they went up 5.5 games, and they've been on a massive losing streak. So now we're tied. So it's going to be a wonderful weekend. And the most important thing is we have Zach Wheeler going tonight for us. So against a rookie pitcher that they're bringing. So that's good news for the Phils.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We are not out on the Phillies here in June, Oscar, on Birds 365. Too many people out on the Phillies too early in the season. It's a long.
I think it's a Philadelphia mentality, Oscar. I think they act like baseball is football too often. And, a couple losses, being around baseball, you're going to have slumps, you're going to have ups, you're going to have downs over 162 games. I think everybody's like, you got to win. You got to win every game. That football mentality is creeped in.
I mean, that is definitely the truth. And the reality is that one football game equals about 10 baseball games. So it's it's a very interesting dynamic. And you're going to go to the ups and downs. I mean, right now, Harper is injured. I mean, Aaron Nola is injured. I mean, we lost Alvarado to suspension for 80 games. I mean, those are big. I mean, those are three major contributors that you expected in the beginning of the year that are not playing right now. So, look, the team is hitting, which is something that worried me a little bit a few weeks ago. And at least they're keeping up with the Mets. And, look, it's a marathon, right? This is a marathon. It's not like football. You got to win every game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, even in football, you don't have to win every game. But you better win every game in Philadelphia. Because, and by the way, those expectations, now you got to feel for it. You were at minicamp. I think it's interesting. There's sort of been like a soft ban on the word repeat by the Eagles. It's not like they're, being but they, Nick likes to talk about sustained success. He doesn't like to mention repeat because the minute you start thinking about repeat or you're thinking about the future, that's when you start to make mistakes. Or conversely, he also brings up, if you look at the past and say, all right, we're the Super Bowl champions, pat yourselves on the back, you're probably going to go in a negative direction. So what was your first feel of seeing the new guys, the new iteration of the Philadelphia Eagles?
Bottom line, we're significantly younger than we were even last year when you saw a lot of youth. I mean, losing Slay, losing Becton, what he did for this team. I mean, coming in from the Jets. I mean, it's C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I mean, the ins and outs of C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I mean, those are some senior guys leaving and putting a lot of pressure on not only the players, the young players, but also the coaching. And I think that's one of the key things that probably we don't talk enough. I mean, outside of Big, and we know the job that Big has done, but everyone underneath Big Fangio, I mean, the job they've done preparing these kids to be ready for the games has been really, really special. I mean, the job at the line, I mean, what we did last year with the cornerbacks, I mean, it's you got to give a lot of kudos. I actually saw Big Fangio last week. I mean, he was at a Phillies game, believe it or not.
He loves the Phillies. He loves the Phillies.
He loves the Phillies. So he was with his grandsons there at the game, and we had the opportunity to talk a little bit. And look, it's just, and he gives a lot of kudos to a lot of those guys that are underneath him because they really did an amazing job. And look, we expect the same this year. I mean, a lot of young guys, I mean, Macubas of this world, I mean, going up out there and being able to deliver the way we expect them to deliver. And I know you were talking about Blankenship, and I do agree with you guys. He's probably going to be a captain this year. I agree with you, Johnny Mac. And he also needs to take his game to another level in terms of leadership. And my biggest concern, I mean, the schedule, I mean, you look at the schedule from the past couple of years and this year, it's a grueling, it's going to be a grind.
Paper, yeah. On paper, it looks tough. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks really, really tough. But look, at the end of the day, it's injuries, right? My biggest, if you ask me, one of the things that worries me the most is the injuries, and particularly how thin we are at the defensive end position. That is one position that I worry significantly. Nolan Smith, I know how much he's grown, both as a player, both physically and as a player. And he's kind of going to grow into a major leader in this team. But his injury, I mean, his last year at Georgia, he lost a lot of games. I mean, he lost half of the season. Even with the Eagles, the first year, he missed a lot of games. I mean, I'm worried. I mean, how thin we are at the defensive end, it's something that worries me significantly.
Is that your biggest worry on the team, Oscar, that defensive end position?
Yeah, I mean, the youth, I mean, at safety, I mean, that's who's going to be that second safety, and it's going to take C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I think Kelly Ringo is his time. I think he's probably going to step up and be that, but he's not going to be Slay, right? And how does both Q and Cooper DeJean evolve from year one and year two? I'm less worried about that, but they have to kind of take a different role in terms of leading this team. I mean, this is a very, very young team. And look, I know that there are a few free agents out there, and how he's trying to manage the coffer as much as possible because he has to pay a lot of players. But youth is, I mean, particularly on the defensive side, worries me. And who is going to be that Fred Johnson? Who's going to be that third tackle in this team that is going to step up? I mean, we have Pryor back. Maybe with his experience and what Big can do, I love Williams. I mean, Cameron Williams, I love his size. I mean, it's like Clay, I think, for Stout, and how he's going to build that guy into a tackle. I'll be very Hinton and him. I mean, those are two really big guys.
Yeah, and they got that kid from Rutgers too. Lane was funny. He was talking about, Lane Johnson walks into any room in his personal life, and he's the biggest guy, and he walks into the Eagles tackle room, and you got Cameron Williams, you got Miles Hinton, you got Holland Pearson, you got Jordan Mailata, obviously. Yeah. So they got some big dudes.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone and Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Thrill Seekers and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Welcome back in, everybody, to the Birds 365. A little system drop out there across the board, but
that was like Armageddon.
Yeah,
everybody dropped.
That was Oscar dropped. You dropped. I don't think that was just one internet drop. I don't know if there were some back end issues.
China's attacking us.
That was Ricky Ricardo sending a message.
That's Ricky. Yeah, potentially was Ricky. Yankees aren't doing too well.
Oh, they're
Ricky
not.
got it. Yeah.
No, I'm going to pick up right where we left off, though, Oscar. I want to ask you about Nick Sirianni. You've been a pretty vocal supporter of Nick Sirianni. And I'll tell you what, Oscar, since he showed up, man, this team was winning a lot of football games. How much do you think he's grown as a coach, and how much credit do you give him for the success of this team? A lot of people point to Howie and Jeffrey and Jalen, and I think everybody deserves some credit, but I think Nick is still underrated in Philly. How do you see Nick, his evolution, and what he means to the team?
I think if you go and looked at, I saw yesterday the unscripted that the Eagles drop is really, really good, and I think it shows,
I gotta watch this. Somebody else mentioned it.
It is really, really good, and it shows kind of the effect of Nick on this entire team. Basically what he said, I'm not going to show you any pictures about the Super Bowl. That is in the past. We're going to be focusing on climbing this mountain. We need to climb a new mountain this year that doesn't have anything to do with the past. And I think the way he has kind of brought the culture here is something very, very important. Look, that's everything, right? He was a rookie when he came here. We know everything that happened. He's learned over the 4 years, and he has grown as a coach, and he understands that he has a different role today than what he expected probably to have, kind of being a play caller and giving up play calling and all of that. So I think he's grown. I think one of my biggest concerns this year is how this offense is going to evolve. And he's going to be a big part of it. I mean, together with the new offensive coordinator, I mean, the bigger question for me is how are they going to get the passing game to another level? This offense needs more balance. I mean, we cannot expect that Saquon is going to run for another 2,000 yards. So Patulu is going to have, together with Sirianni, they're going to have to kind of build on the success from last year, but beginning to have a much more balanced offense than what we saw last year in order to be able to climb that mountain that we're talking about.
You know, I thought it was interesting. Nick has said a couple of times that there's some positives from, I think, the constant churn at offensive coordinator. You mentioned Kevin Patullo, the latest. You go every year for Jalen Hurts, it's a different offensive coordinator, different play call, dating back to Alabama. I mean, every single year. And I think for a long time that's been portrayed as a negative. Nick's trying to flip that and say, you know what? There's some positives because you get to learn from all these smart people who go on because you're having a lot of success, most of them, Not all of them, but most of them get promoted. So you're getting all these good coaches who have new ideas, and it's all encapsulated, and you get better and better. You think that's just spin, or there's something to that?
Look, I mean, it's been to a certain extent, right? I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You have to see what is going to be, the offense, so the 2025 offense, and how will it evolve from last year. I do believe that having kind of the different offensive coordinators that both Jalen has had, as well as the offensive coordinators that have been in this team, I think you learn from what works and doesn't work. But we need to bring in a much different offense than we did last year, because we cannot bank. I mean, Saquon cannot run again. If we're counting on 2,000 yards from Saquon, you know what's going to happen. I mean, we know what history says. I think Sanders is the only one that have gotten close out of runners with 2,000 yards. And look, it has to evolve. Chipley, what role is he going to play? Is he going to be more of a pass catcher? Can you include him in the offense? I mean, it has to evolve. It has to evolve. The other big question mark on this team is tight end. What's going to happen when? I mean, are we going to go as Calcaterra? I mean, the second coming of Goddard? We know he's not. I mean, we know he's not even close. So we don't have that second guy that can take.
Nick
Muse.
Huh? Nick Muse.
Yeah.
Kyle McCord, Nick Muse. And
it's going to be, I mean, it's worrisome, because we know it'll happen. We know that Goddard, based on history, he's going to miss 4 games. And that's not even the problem. Who's going to be the future tight end of this team? I mean, the future tight end number 1 of this team. Those are big question marks that we're going to have to answer. And to me, look, I think Big Fangio has that defense rocking. I do believe that we're going to see some maybe growing pains in the first couple of weeks like we did last year. I mean, until Campbell is fully ready to provide his versatility and what he's going to be capable of doing on this defense. But I think the offense evolution is going to be very, very important. I mean, look, we have the pieces. The talent is there. It's more a matter of it's more on Nick, and it's more on Patullo to take this next step and take this offense that they've been growing on the last 5 years and bringing the pieces together and kind of evolve it. Because if not, in football, if you don't evolve, I mean, people are going to catch up to you.
Yeah, they're going to catch up.
If you're not growing, you're dying is basically what's happened there.
But here's what I'll say about Saquon. Can I just say one thing about Saquon? And Oscar's right about the history and what has happened to guys who run for 2,000 yards, Barry being the closest. None of them has ever had the offensive line that Saquon has.
That's true. That is true.
None of them. And Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens are back. It'll be Tyler Steen probably, or Matt Pryor at right guard. I mean, I wouldn't put. I'll say this, Oscar. I'm gonna
That's
make.
A fair point. That's a fair point.
I'm gonna make people stop it before I just default to they can, and I have to go against that. They won 16 of 17 games playing the way they played. And until somebody proves to me they can stop it, because remember in the Super Bowl, and you were there and you saw it, Steve Spagnuolo did a great job against Saquon Barkley, but he sold out, and the Eagles are throwing the ball wherever they want it. Absolutely. So I'm gonna force somebody to take it away and be effective doing it before I move away from that philosophy.
I think the word is balance, right? You cannot be. I mean, you proved last year that you were able to win, being the 31 offense passing and second offense running the football. The question. I mean, we know that balance. I mean, a better balance, and I'm not talking. I'm talking maybe 30-70 or 40-60 will probably get you there. And look, I think Jalen was waiting until the end to go out. I mean, with his passing game, and it was special, man. Being there in
that
Orleans,
game, man.
I can't believe it's still. I mean, I was like in the second quarter, and I said, "What's happening here? Is this real?" I mean, because it's like, everything is a grind. I mean, I remember the games against New Orleans. We barely beat New Orleans in New Orleans. I mean, I was looking at it. I said, like, is this real? I mean, incredible.
You talk about the evolution. Yeah, no doubt about it. You talk about the evolution of the offense, Oscar, and when I hear that, I think Jalen Hurts. All right, quarterback of the football team. What's next for Jalen Hurts in your eyes? Where do you think the evolution, how much of that evolution on the offense that must occur falls on his shoulders? I know you pointed out Patullo and Sirianni, but Jalen is the guy who touches and holds the ball every play. What more do you want to see from Jalen, and how do you think he evolves moving forward?
I think it's decision making, right? I mean, we know when you have the football and you're going to throw the football, being able to kind of screen the field and being able to make the right pass to the right player is absolutely critical. I think Johnny Mack is absolutely right. I mean, that offensive line give us so much luxury, both in the running game as well as in the passing game, that look, he needs to take the time and he has evolved. I mean, just as a married man, now that he's evolving as a married man, he also needs to continue to evolve as a player. Look, and Jalen, one thing that I do appreciate from Jalen is he's his worth critic. He knows what he's not doing right, and he works really, really hard at it. So, I mean, at least from that perspective, it is the right thing. But I mean, I'm expecting a much better balance on the offense. I mean, particularly the scheme and how Jalen continues to grow as a passer. And look, we know he's not going to be, the next Elway or Wagner or Warner or anybody like that. But I mean, I think balance is the key. I mean, you saw some of the growth that Lamar Jackson has had as a passer. I would like to see a little bit more growth there. And even though with Lamar, it doesn't look pretty, but he gets the job done, right?
Yeah, certainly did last year, but they haven't won. So, I mean, that's what Jalen Hurts has done. So that's sort of complete. I mean, the ability to win games in the Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts era has been pretty impressive. And I think people need to appreciate that, because it's not always like this. And it's not always going to be like this, because, as you know, being around sports for a long time, Oscar, sports are cyclical. And you go up and you go down. The talent level is most important. And right now, the Eagles got a heck of a lot of good players, and people should enjoy it. I would say that number one. Offensively, though, it's funny, because the defense was ranked number one. And this is my last one for you, Oscar, at Oscar Bujajin. Make sure you follow him on X. Listen to him. Voice of the Phillies in Espanol, voice of the Eagles with Ricky Ricardo as well. If you look at what this team has been able to do, offensively versus defensively, you just mentioned the Super Bowl. 9 drives, Kansas City with Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. They didn't let them pass the 50-yard line. They dominated that game. They had the number 1 defense. They only had the number 8 offense, but 10 of the 11 starters are back on offense. They got to replace a bunch of guys on defense. The Milton Williams, the Josh Sweats, even the Isaiah Rodgers players like that, CJ Gardner Johnson, we mentioned, even Oren Burks, somebody like that. Is that realistic to say, with all that change on defense, even with Vic Fangio, even with Bobby King, even with Clint Hurt, Christian Parker teaching these young guys, is it realistic to say they can be as dominant as they were last year on defense?
I think probably if they remain healthy, probably the answer is yes. I mean, when you have what Zach Bond did for this team, if he can replicate what he did last year, and we know and it's a mindset, right? It's the mindset. I mean, the evolution of Nolan Smith and what we saw in the last few weeks, I mean, that combination between Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith was lethal. Can Jordan Davis take it another level? I believe, I mean, we look how fitted he is. Hopefully he can take it to kind of the next step. But I do believe it boils down to health. If we are healthy, I think we have the coaching, we have the talent to be able to replicate, at least on paper. The bigger question, to me, the 2 bigger questions this year are schedule, the toughness of the schedule, and injuries. Because look, if one of those guys goes down, one of those guys that we just mentioned, or Jalen, or Nolan Smith, or Hunt, I mean, who are going to replace? What are going to be the guys that are going to replace them?
And you look at last year's team, there was a lot of guys who stepped up when needed on that team. I mean, even Isaiah Rodgers, you brought up Fred Johnson earlier. It's a good point, Oscar.
Burks.
Burks. Exactly.
Yeah, Burks was tremendous in the playoffs. Yeah.
Yep, it's true. It's really good. Good.
Special is special. It was a special season.
Yeah,
special is special.
It was unbelievable.
No doubt about it. Oscar,
by the way, I'll ask you this question. Was that the best Eagles you guys have ever seen? The best?
Oh, yeah.
Certainly for me. Yeah. I'm younger, but that was certainly my best I've ever.
Yeah, it's the best team I've ever covered. And I've been covering football for too long. 20.
I go back to the Buddy Ryan era, so trust me.
25, 30 years. That's the best team I've ever seen in person.
Oof.
I still say the 2007 Patriots are the best team, and they didn't even win. They didn't even win.
Incredible, guys.
Yeah.
Last question for me here, Oscar. I'm going to put you on the spot. It's going to be a tough one. All right. I want you to think NFC title game. Over, under, push. Will the Eagles go further than the NFC title? Will they not make it to the NFC title? Or will they get to the NFC title and that will be the end of the road? I understand it's a tough one. What do you think, Oscar?
Look, I'm more worried about the AFC than the NFC. How about that? Look, I do believe. I mean, I predicted, or I'm going to be predicting that it's going to be Ravens versus Eagles in the next Super Bowl. Okay. Look, I'm a guy that thinks positive. You got to bring positive vibes, and I do believe this team has a real chance to be there at the Levi Stadium next year and playing for that Super Bowl. So, look, I think we're going to lose potentially 4 or 5 games during the season. I do believe that it's going to be real. I think the beginning of the year is brutal. I mean,
the first Rams, 4 games are tough.
I mean, Rams. I mean, we got to go to Tampa.
Again. Man,
Tampa, hot.
House of Horrors.
Tampa and hot, because that is primarily part of the reason it is so hot down there. We're going to be there and looking at that team. I hope they're better fit. I mean, I think one of the things that I saw last year in training camp was Nick Sirianni asking the guys to run a little bit harder. They're going to have to run even a little bit harder this year than last year to be able to sustain that heat down in Tampa. So,
you just hope it's not humid. You just gotta hope the weather forecast breaks your way. But you're right about Tampa. Tampa in September can be brutal, and it certainly has been some bad luck for the Eagles there. But Oscar, great debut. We're going to ask you back, unfortunately for you.
Oh, my God. It's a real pleasure, guys. I'm a fan of the show. I look forward to see you soon. And if you guys come to the Phils game, just let me know, guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oscar, thank you, man. Make sure you guys follow him at Oscar Budajin and listen to him for Voice of the Eagles and the Phillies and Espanol. Oscar, thank you, sir.
Thanks, bud.
Take it easy, guys.
There you go. Great stuff there from Oscar Budajin. A great debut.
By the way, Nick Sirianni is going to find you both for talking about, stay in the moment.
Well,
no repeat.
Guess
no
what,
repeat.
Nick, you ain't my coach. All right. You're the coach of the team. Worry about the squad. I'll do what I got to do, Nick. John, that was a great interview, man. I don't know what the heck happened. I've never seen the internet do that.
I have never seen
bad connection. And I know I've been having
something happened. I saw some people in the chat saying something happened.
Yeah, I mean, everybody went down. I've had internet issues this week, but it wasn't that. My internet's perfect, so I don't know what the heck happened. The whole system reset in the middle of our interview with Oscar. But great interview with Oscar, Johnny Mac. You were right. He was a great addition to the show today on a Football Friday.
Yeah, Oscar's, like I said, Oscar's a great dude. Obviously, is very close to the team, being part of the radio broadcast. So, he gets those opportunities to, like he was talking to Vic the other day, at the Phillies game. So, he's very plugged into what's going on with the team and knows what he's talking about. And obviously, he's good on air. So, I've been meaning to get him on, and I just, it slips my mind because I got so much other stuff coming on. But we'll make him a more permanent part, hopefully, time permitting. But everybody's got a bunch of stuff they have to do. But I thought he'd be a great guest, and he delivered.
Absolutely, he delivered. That's why I was upset that we had a dropout, like one I don't know how many times.
I don't know. Yeah,
That's all right, though. We recovered pretty quickly and all good. So great stuff there from Oscar Budajin. I thought his takeaways were great. He had some good talk on the offensive evolution, John.
Yeah, by the way, I mean, see, I don't know why, again, Oscar comes on and says the same thing. I mean, yeah, the passing game's got to evolve. Why is that even a controversial
John, I think it's the Spanish accent has just a way to warm people over. It makes the delivery more consumable.
Like, if you're in that category and you get upset when you hear people say the Eagles' 31st ranked passing offense needs to get a little bit better, I mean, you got to take a step back and say, all right, I'm just going too hard being a fan. I mean, there's nothing. Everybody knows it. You know, the coaches know it, the players know it. It's not. Nothing bad is going to happen for you to admit the truth. I don't. Yeah, I have a tough time understanding that group of people, and not most people understand it. I think it's a small group, but they exist and they get really angry.
I thought your point, John, with Oscar about Saquon Barkley was a good one with the offensive line. I mean, I haven't factored that in a little bit. I mean, I don't expect him to go for 2K, just to be clear. But I do think you brought up a good point. His circumstance and the surrounding variables with it are different than who's come before him, and potentially that gives him a chance to be able to do it. Also, add in.
I think a lot of people don't understand that. Like my perspective is, like why wouldn't he run for? Running for 2,000 yards for Saquon Barkley behind this offensive line is not that daunting if he stays healthy.
Yeah, because you couple the talent of the player with the talent of the offensive line, it makes sense.
It's 117 yards a game.
Yeah, it's very
now. Again, it part of the reason why he didn't break the record last year was, they had a bunch of blowout games or his rest in the fourth quarter. They didn't, he didn't play week 18. All that stuff can factor in again. But if he plays 17 games behind that offensive line, why the hell wouldn't he rush for 2,000 yards? So I kind of look at it. Now, do I think he will? No, probably not, because he might miss a couple games. I always play the odds, or I'll probably sit for a couple games. So, but I'm just saying from a health perspective, behind this offensive line, I mean, I'm going to force people to stop it before I just say, because I think a lot of people are with Oscar and they say, well, you got to change. Right. Why do I have to change?
Well, we have felt. I feel like we felt like that as well here on Birds 365. No, I mean, you've talked about it. The need to.
No, I believe they need to be more effective in their passing.
Well, John, correct me if I'm off base, but don't you think they were pretty effective? Like Jalen threw 70% completions. I know they were 30th or whatever it was in passing, but they also were bottom of the league in attempts. So. The effectiveness, I didn't really think was the issue. It was the usage and how much.
There were a lot of shitty games mixed in there. Way too many shitty games mixed in there. That's what I'm talking about. Like they were very effective, in the instances where everybody wants to bring up, like after all the questions and the Pittsburgh game and Jalen showing up and saying, is that what you wanted to see? And they were very effective in the NFC Championship game and very effective in the Super Bowl, obviously. But I mean, that obfuscates and masks the bad games. Like the reason the Pittsburgh game exists is because how bad the Carolina game was. And really, how bad the Baltimore game was before that. So you had that run. It was an ugly, ugly run from a passing game perspective. So you had Washington, 184 yards, Rams 142, Baltimore 139, Carolina 130. That's gross.
Yeah, I mean, what's the average number of games in a season that you should basically expect for a quarterback to not have their best game? Like quarterbacks aren't going to play great 17 games of the year. It's just not. It's not plausible. But what's the realistic number on where you would want them to be
The
great?
truly great ones, it's pretty up there. You probably, if they play 17, you're probably playing at effective level 14, 15 of them. You might have a couple stinkers, but I'm talking about the really elite quarterbacks. But rarely do you see high-level quarterbacks that the numbers the Eagles were for a number. That's what I'm talking about. Like, they were just ridiculously poor in certain games that I think a lot of people mask over. And that's why I constantly say, like, I didn't rip the camera for his top 11 thing because I'm doing my top 25 thing. And how do you get Jalen Hurts above Lane Johnson, AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley, Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Jalen Carter on his own team? Now, this is where people get pissed off. Those guys are fucking great. All of them. It is not an insult to say you're not a better football player than any of those names. It is not an insult by any stretch of the imagination. You might have the best left tackle in football, or he's in the conversation. You might have the best right tackle in football, or he's in the conversation. You might have the best left guard in football. You might have the best wide receiver in football. You might have the best defensive tackle. They're all in that conversation. Every single one of those guys. Right. And the running back. I missed the running back, who was obviously in the conversation. Like, why is that an insult? For pointing out that those guys are better at their jobs than he's better at his job. That doesn't mean he's bad at his job. He's very good at his job. But I think Oscar brings up the point everybody brings up, and I'm not even there, because if you win and they found a formula to win, I'm going to force people to stop it. But to say that their passing game was effective, for one, they don't believe that. The Eagles, forget about me, they don't believe that. Too many games it wasn't effective. And to point out the outliers were Pittsburgh, Washington, championship game, Kansas City, and the biggest point of it. That's true, and that's great.
They're outliers, though.
But that doesn't take away from the bad games. People just forget the bad games. They don't care about the bad games. But again, if it went in a different direction and you lose the Rams game, that's all those same people would be talking about. How bad the passing game was. That's all they'd be talking about.
Yeah, and they would be saying we would never win with this style of player, style of quarterback, style of passing game.
And and that would probably be too, because again, there are going to be moments. If you go back to Super Bowl 52, there are going to be moments in every NFL season where it can cost you your entire season. And that was the Atlanta game in Super Bowl 52. Right. And they got through it, and they just took off against Minnesota and had the great offensive Super Bowl. And last year it was the Rams, and they took off, and they persevered, and they took off. But that's how close it is from going in a negative direction. Julio Jones can haul in one of those passes. If Jalen Carter doesn't get to Matthew Stafford, that's how close it is. But from a coaching perspective, and if you're going to be honest with yourself, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, if you count the playoffs, under 200 yards passing is not where you want to be.
I'm going to ask you, go to this comment from one of our great viewers here. Izzy B, thanks for the comment. Thanks for the support of the channel. She says, what would a good passing year look like for Jalen?
I mean, again, I'm not caught up in the stats of he's got to hit a certain number of yards passing.
Right.
I'm caught up in the effectiveness in games. So if you have, if you have 13 or 14 games where you're performing at an effective level, that's a phenomenal season. Like the consistency has to be better. Not the high. The EKG's got to
much
be.
of last year's inconsistency though was dictated by the fact that you relied so much on Saquon because it worked so well. So in other words, there was nothing that ever forced you back to the other side. It was like we gave the ball to Saquon, and it was so damn good, as you point out, for 16 out of 17
Well,
games.
yeah, I said I thought it was unfair. I thought, and I've said that pretty consistently. Now they won, so it's hard to. But I thought after the Tampa game, which was ugly, but again, AJ's not playing, Devontae's not playing, Lane's not playing. Why would you expect it to not be ugly? So I thought it was unfair to scale things back at that stage. I thought it was too much of a panic move, but 16 of 17 wins says otherwise. I definitely think it's part of it. And, as Jalen kind of intimated at times last season, it was basically, at times he said, and I'm paraphrasing, if you don't use it, you might not have it. You got to be careful. And it turns out when they had, that was really the crux of the season, because you had 4 consecutive games that were basically ineffective passing games. And then they came out against Pittsburgh and really looked good throwing the football. And that was the crux of sort of the passing game. But and Nick says it all the time. You never want to be bottom 5 in anything in the NFL. And they were 31st. It's kind of amazing they won the Super Bowl with that kind of passing game. But they won the Super Bowl. There's unique outliers, but understand it is an outlier. Like to expect to win another Super Bowl with the 31st ranked passing game, as Oscar pointed out, in the second ranked running game, that's even more difficult than the first one, because you're doing something that's rare back to back. And that's the understanding and why people default to that, and why Oscar defaulted to that. I'm actually more towards the other end. I'm going to force somebody to beat me, to take away what I do well, before I completely go in with the sentiment of, oh, I have to do this because nobody has been able to do it back to back. Well, nobody's ever had this offensive line. And understanding they don't have the same offensive line without Mekhi, but it's going to be similar. And, the top 4 guys are off the charts on the offensive line.
Good stuff, Izzy B. Thanks for the question. Good stuff there. Here we go. Oh gosh, I see a Brian Pumper super chat that's gonna ruffle the show here a little bit. John, you're not gonna like this one. I'll tell you that much. Brian Pumper checking in. I know J Mac is about to get triggered. What do you guys think about the Madden team ratings? Eagles are 87 overall, 49ers 92 overall.
The only thing I get triggered over is why anybody gives a shit, and I don't even know what that means. So,
87 out of a hundo versus 92 out of a hundo.
So San Francisco is graded better than the Eagles coming off of last season. Is that what we're saying? Well, I don't agree with it, but yeah, I'm not going to. Yeah, I think it's dumb if anybody grades their football teams by Madden ratings, but yeah, that would be my trigger.
I want to figure out how they get the ratings. Like
that would be my triggered response. I don't even know if that's true, but if it is true, like why in the world would they have San Francisco ahead of Philadelphia coming off last season? I mean, if that doesn't completely blow up their people's belief in that game or conflating that to real life. What would? One's the Super Bowl champions and one came in last place. I find it somebody's got to fact check Pumper on that.
Is that true? Or what are you saying?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I need a fact check. Are there any gamers?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you did point out like how good the roster is for the 49ers, and they had a lot of injuries and all those things. So I don't know. Maybe it's Fred Warner's probably a 99.
Is he talking about going into last year?
I don't know.
That I believe.
I think it's the new Madden ratings is my guess. I don't know. I haven't followed it. I haven't played.
Yeah, we need number one. We need a fact check, and if it's this year's game and they rated the 49ers above the Eagles, yeah, that's
this time next offseason we're going to do a JAKIB Super Bowl, and it's going to be John playing Madden. John playing Madden. John live streaming a game of Madden.
I can't stand video games.
I've never been a huge video gamer.
Yeah.
I was like, my mom was like a super laid back person growing up. Like she was not strict. She let her kids explore and do things and learn on their own. The one thing my mom hated was video games. Like if we were playing video games, it was like, get off the video games. That was the one thing my mom hated was video games.
Yeah. I got too much to do, but I mean, to waste that amount of time, I can't do that. Can't do it.
I'm kind of with you. Dank Bird Gang says that just means the 49ers have more players with higher overall ratings. So Fred,
is it true though? Is it true? That's number one. Is it true? I want to fact check. Did they actually rate the 49ers above the Eagles in the game this year?
Yeah, that I don't know. Let me look this up. Madden ratings. What is it? Madden 26 coming out?
I guess
26 ratings.
Yeah. What I'm trying to say, because last year I would believe it because the 49ers were a good team and they didn't go through what they went through last year, and everybody expected them to continue to be a good team. And the Eagles had a lot of uncertainty.
Brian Pumper, he lied right to us. If this website I'm on, which is MaddenRatings.com, is correct, it says the Niners are 87. And we're 92.
Yeah. See, that's why I wanted the fact check. Yeah, that made no sense on the surface. Zero.
Saquon's a 99, Lane's a 98, Mailata's a 95, AJ's a 93.
And who would have more higher rated players than the Eagles? It's absurd.
Vaughn 89 and Hurts is an 87. Jalen Carter 87. That's a great.
By the way, give me who's ahead of Jalen.
Saquon, Lane, Jordan, AJ, and Vaughn.
So basically, these exact players I said. Why isn't Carter without
Carter's
Carter?
tied with AJ or with Jalen at 87. Yeah. There's 5 87s. Ready? 5 87s. Jalen, Devontae, Jalen Carter, Dallas Goedert, and Landon Dickerson.
Yeah. Landon's too low and Jalen Carter's too low, but I digress.
Too low. This dude Pumper lied to me. Pumper
that didn't make sense on the surface. It made no sense. And I have no respect for Madden ratings. Even I gave him more credit than that. There's no way you can go into this season and say the Eagles aren't better than the 49ers.
These guys are telling me I got fake news. So let me share the screen with them so these nimrods can look at what I'm looking at here. Here we go, folks. All right. Here you go. Here's your Madden ratings. Team is that I'm not seeing things, right? Eagles 92. And then you click over here to Niners 87, it says. I mean, I don't know. Is this website wrong? They got Trent, Kittle, Fred, Bosa, McCaffrey is their top 5. Makes sense, obviously. And the Eagles 92. There you go. And there's ours. There's our ratings right there. Quinion 85 and Cooper DeJean an 83. Reed an 80 and Nolan Smith a 79. There it is.
I don't know. I mean, my first advice was to ignore Madden ratings, but it made no sense to have the.
If you told me when I woke up this morning that me and John today on Birds 365 would pull up a graphic of Madden ratings, I would have called you nuts and you've never watched the show. But here we are. That's what happens when you got Brian Pumper in the chat. Brian, thank you for the super chat, brother. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody here in the chat. We'll take a commercial break, and then we have 20 minutes left to play. We're going until 10:30 today. For those who checked in late, we started the show at 8:30 a.m. today. That was on me. I had a technical thing. I had to run out. I tried to get my internet fixed yesterday. Guy came late, couldn't fix it. So I had to get the Staples this morning, which opened at 8 a.m., picked up the device I need, which seems to be working well. So I haven't had any dropout today, which is a good thing. Dankbird gang, one more super chat, says they update ratings every week, so who cares? Yeah, I don't care at all whether they update them or not. I don't give a shit.
I don't.
To be honest with you,
yeah. But to be very clear, I do not care.
I do understand. You do understand though, John, why players care, like because it's fans play it, and like little kids who don't understand. They base, I think, who's good football.
No, I do not and I've actually talked to players about this. I do not understand why they care about Madden ratings at all.
Well, they want they want their perception to be good.
Other than, obviously it's human nature to have everybody like you. But I mean, and for the most part, I in a real world, in an actual in the building, with their coaches, I don't think they give a shit. But yeah, outside that, everybody wants to be praised, I guess. But and it's very popular. I acknowledge that. But yeah, I don't get why players give a shit either. But it's a big deal. God, they've done a good job branding it. Like when they give Saquon the 99 chain. But yeah, I don't know why they care. Like Pro Bowls are stupid too, but they're often tied up into their incentives. So that is more meaningful to them because they actually get money for that.
Right. This one's simply perception, I think.
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah. I hope we don't ever get to a world where there's contract incentives based on Madden.
Well, we might. And at that point, I would say it's more valuable. But yeah, I joke we're never getting to that point. But that's why All Pro is and some people get angry because they use the Associated Press and other entities get upset. But it is what it is. I mean, that's what they use, and that's what matters because that's what's tied to incentives and contracts and things like that.
Yeah, no doubt. One more super chat. Brian Pump checking in. I wasn't capping, sir. How dare you question Brian Pumper? B. Pumper can never tell a lie. That website is Fugazi.
Well, again, I have no expertise in Madden, but if they rate the San Francisco 49ers right now better than the Philadelphia Eagles right now, then that tells you all you need to know about the credibility of Madden ratings.
Yes,
you should completely never talk about Madden ratings again.
It's true. It's a good point. It's a good point. I mean, Fredo says, I'm going to need to buy Zander Madden. Careful what you wish for, Fredo. I'll pick up the sticks and dust you, buddy. All right. Thank you for being here, though, Fredo. Johnny Mac, good stuff. Let's get to our commercial break. We got about 15 minutes left to play here on Birds 365. We'll do it all. Coming up next, hit that like button. I think we've done pretty well on the likes today. I'll check that at the break. I'd like to get to 150 if possible. So smash that like button. Let's get at least up to 120 by the time the break is done. We'll be right back in 3 minutes on Birds 365.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone and Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Thrill Seekers and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Welcome back in, everybody, to a Football Friday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, John McMullen. Give us follows on X at Zander Krause and at JF McMullen. And if you're over on Instagram, a couple of you guys followed me yesterday. You can follow me there at Zander Krause as well. Appreciate all of you guys for connecting with us on the social platforms and everything that you guys do to help keep the show afloat. The like, who can give me an update on where we are on likes? I didn't check. I was doing some other things in the break. Where are we on likes? And we'll take a look at that and give you guys the update on that. Johnny Mac, I want to ask you what I asked Oscar. If I give the NFC title game as the crux.
Oh, I'm taking the under.
You're taking
but
the under?
I'm an odds guy. I mean, that's just
you're an odds guy. I knew you were going to take the under.
Yeah. I mean, that's I think Baltimore's going to win the Super Bowl if you force me to pick a Super Bowl winner, as seemingly every year. But if you ask me that way, I'll still take the under. The odds are it's not going to happen. So, I mean, I think to me, all that matters is the Eagles are a legitimate, significant contender again. And that's the place you want to be. And if a bunch of things go right, and Oscar brought up the most obvious, and that's attrition, that's a big part of it. They have as good a chance as anybody, but odds are against everybody. So, if you probably ask me that question about any team, I'm going to take the under. Now, the NFC Championship game's a little bit lower, but odds are they'll probably get upset at some point. But maybe not.
Like they're going to make the title game. You're going to take the under?
Yeah, I think I'm a divisional round upset at this stage for the Eagles coming.
Where are you on the defense? Top.
I have a lot of questions about the defense.
I know, but last year they were 1. My bold prediction of the year.
I got no shot at being number.
I'm not saying they're going to be number 1. My bold prediction of the year is that they're going to be a top 5 defense.
Yeah, I'd take the under on that.
I know you're taking the under, but where do you got them? Top 15, top 20, top 10, 12?
I'm going to say they're going to finish 11th in the NFL, which is still pretty good.
I can
still pretty good.
I thought you were down. A couple of weeks ago, you were a little bit.
That was Mike. That was Mike Gill. No,
I think Gill got you a couple days, John. You were like 18th.
No, I didn't. I never. That was like last year, probably. Nolan Smith, I think, is going to be a good player. A little bit concerned about the injuries. But But I will correct Oscar on one thing. He was not hurt here in his first year. He just didn't play. He played every game, but he just played on special teams. He didn't play that much, but he wasn't hurt. He was hurt his last year in Georgia. And, maybe it's conflated with his shoulder and his talk about this shoulder injury.
Yeah, which
But
I think
played.
was to give Oscar some slack. I mean,
No, yeah. A lot of people think for some reason because he didn't play, but he was healthy.
Yeah, but remember the comment he made? That was
the shoulder. This is my baby. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
It's an odd comment. I'm sure the PR department.
But he's still in that range. Yeah, like he's got a shoulder issue that's not going away. And sometimes he plays with a harness, sometimes it feels good, sometimes it doesn't. So I have some concern over the long term, because he is undersized and he is pushing against 300 pounders all the time. And like I said, I mean, he got hurt in the Super Bowl. He tore his triceps. Well, what if he was playing week 1 at the level he was playing week 9 or whatever it was, and he tears his tricep in week 9 and his season's over? So I'm a little concerned about the longevity, but I think he's a good player. And then Jalen Hunt, I'm more high on after seeing him this spring. He's just gifted. And sometimes, like I always say, you throw those guys in the deep end of the pool, and sometimes they just swim, even though he doesn't know what he's doing. And I think he's going to get better and better. So I'm a little bit higher on him. I'm higher on Ringo. I'm a little bit higher on Makuba after
You're making me feel good about my top 5 prediction right now.
No, but to me is top 5 is great. Top 5 is great.
I think they're going to be great.
I think that for young players, I don't think Jalen Hunt is going to be a star. I think he's a ascending player going in the right direction.
You mean just this year? You're not saying can't be a star. Yeah, you're saying this year.
Kaylee Ringo is an ascending player that I think is going to be a good player. Not a great player, but a good player. Drew Makuba, I think, is a good fit. I think he's going to get better as the year goes on, but there's going to be some hiccups with all these players.
Right.
That's what I mean by it. But I'm a little bit higher on all of them than I was before the spring, which I think is a positive. But overall, yeah, I mean, Moro Joma's in that same category. I think he's got a chance to be a really good player. And is he going to be Milton Williams next year? No. So,
you think Ty Robinson has a big role this year, or bigger than we are anticipating at this point?
No, not unless there's injuries, and that's a bad thing. He's going to be the 4th.
Well, here's why I asked that, John. Here's why I asked that. Because last year, Milton was in the role he was in. You had Jordan, you had Jalen, and then you had a Jomo who did get around 400 snaps last year in that back role behind Milton. So if we, in theory, say a Jomo moves up to Milton and Ty is taking over for what Moro was last year, wouldn't there still be a role for him to be on the field consistently?
No, because Moro's role is, I think more of Milton snaps are going to be a combination of Moro and Jordan Davis. I think.
So you think the makeup is the makeup of the snaps is going to be a little different this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think, I don't see Ty Robinson as and maybe I'm wrong because he's a great athlete from a testing perspective, but I mentioned this and I even asked a couple guys with the Eagles because I was able to watch some film of him and he just doesn't look like he looks like his body. He looks like he's a big, powerful guy. And it looks like there isn't great athleticism or explosion. Now, if you look at his testing numbers from the Underwear Olympics, he's very athletic. But I haven't seen that translate to the field. And until I see it translate to the field, I find it very hard they're going to have him in a Jomo role early in his career. Remember, he's a 4th-round pick, too. We're not talking about the 20th pick in the draft. He's a 4th-round pick. So I find it hard to believe they're going to give him that role. So I think Milton's snaps get eaten up the majority of by Jordan Davis and Morrow, and then Ty's the fourth guy, and he'll probably get somewhat less than, because remember, Morrow played more as the season went on, and one of the reasons he played more was because he was such a good pass rusher. And I don't see that happening, at least early in Ty Robinson's career, or to the point where they're taking Morrow off the field, or even like right now, I think Jordan Davis is probably going to be a better pass rusher this year than Ty Robinson. So I don't see him playing as many snaps as Morrow did last year.
That makes sense. We'll see how it all shakes out. Johnny Mac, great week of shows this week, brother. Football Friday, we're closing out strong. Finally got the internet a little bit back. I apologize to everybody for the internet lapses this week. I hate having bad internet, all right? So I will tell you guys, it weighed on me a lot. I literally hate having bad internet. So I apologize for that, but we were a little bit more smooth today. So good stuff there, Johnny Mac. Your final thoughts on this week of shows, my friend?
My final thoughts are Ed Kratz just forwarded me his top 25 list, and we got some differences. So get
I love to hear that. 32 days until training camp, 76 days until the banner drop and the Eagles kick off versus the Dallas Cowboys. 32 days from training camp, John. The season's here. 32 days. It might as well be 3 days. We're here, baby.
Yeah. It seems more daunting for me than you. But yeah, we'll get there. We're not there yet.
John, get out the honey-do list, my friend, and start making check marks, my friend. You only got 32 to camp.
Yes. And I got plenty of things I got to do. Yeah. As always, but we're getting closer. But yeah, I'm more in the Nick Sirianni mode, day by day. Stay where your feet are. Don't look ahead. Don't look ahead.
Are you going to watch the unscripted, the state media? You said you were going to. I was surprised.
Yeah, well, those guys talked about it. Who talked about it? Oscar talked about it. Somebody else
Oscar, and we had we had a super chat about the about it.
Well, I already know Nick's messaging. I mean, he's made that clear. So and that's about sustained success. They're not going to use the term repeat. And it makes sense. But that's a human nature problem. Like I said, people like to look ahead. They like to look behind. That's just human nature more than anything else. But if you boil it down to your own personal life, probably not good to hamper on the past, probably not good to look ahead, fix what you got to fix today and then move on. That's the best way to tackle any problem.
Right.
Might seem like an elephant, but hey, fix one problem, you go to the next problem.
That's true. Johnny Mac, great show, brother. We will catch you on a Monday edition of Birds 365, starting off another week, getting 1 week closer to training camp. One more super chat before I let you go. Great week of shows. Thanks. Fly Eagles Fly. Thank you. Johnny Mac, thank you, brother. I'll catch you on Monday.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Going to pick the 49ers, I guess, in Madden. Go play Madden.
All right, J Mac. Thanks, brother.
See ya.
All right. There's Johnny Mac. John McMullen, the #1 Eagles beat reporter in town. Give him a follow at JF McMullen. And a great show today here on Birds 365. Oscar Buttigieg was epic. All right, I got to cut that interview up. I got to cut out the middle where we had our dropout, but that was a dope interview. So I'm going to post that up on the channel today, and I'll post up some other segments as well. So for the nerd in the chat, Rich, you're not 365. Rich, you nerd. Shut up, Rich. We are 365. You know why, Rich? Because people click on Birds 365 every single day of the year, and I got the metrics on YouTube to prove it. All right? I got the metrics on YouTube to prove it. So you, my friend, can back off. No 365. Come on, man. So no love note. I don't know how many likes are we at. If he said 200 likes, then I'd go love notes. J-Mac picking the Vikings. No, he's not. Brian, why did you give me fake information about Madden? What is this? You give me fake info now? Rich says, Z, you need some eye drops. I always need eye drops, dude. My eyes are always, I look at screens all day, dude. I swear. I look at screens all day. Since I started doing JAKIB in 2020. All right. So I love the people who are like, oh, yeah, dude, you've been given a silver platter. Shut up, nerd. You don't know a fucking thing. Ready? Since I started JAKIB in 2020, that's when I joined with my dad. He's been doing JAKIB since 2010. I think he started 2009. He started JAKIB, not JAKIB Sports, but JAKIB. And I joined him in 2020, and that's when we launched this YouTube channel. So before 2020, you probably never heard of JAKIB, and now people all over the city know about JAKIB. So I take pride in that. I'm proud of that success that we've had and the growth that we've had here on JAKIB. But since that point, everybody, my eyes have literally. I got these glasses like last year, and I went to the eye. That was the first time I got glasses, and the prescription on these 12 months later, I think I got them last May or last April, is already like so far off. It's ridiculous. I'm like, what is happening to my eyeballs? Do I go LASIK? Do I just nip it in the bud and go LASIK? Is that what I do? Is that what I should do? I don't know. Has anybody gotten LASIK in here? People know you are all over the country. Oh, absolutely, brother. You saving the Kango? This is a Kango, Rich. I go back and forth, Rich. The reason I don't wear it, I haven't worn these as much. I got it right here. I wear them every day. You guys don't understand my lifestyle. All right, you guys don't understand my lifestyle. All right, I wear like 40 different hats in a day. Okay, look. Here's a blue one. Here's a navy blue. Here's black. All right. Here's a red one. I mean, I just walk by and pick up a different hat. All right. But the reason I don't like this style as much with this is because of my camera angle down here. Like in my studio at home, I felt like the camera angle worked better. But no, I still got them. I still wear them every day down here. I wear them every day down here. Glasses Z always. No one is touching my damn eyeballs. There you go, Ian. That's a good perspective on it. Afredo, what's up, Afredo? My grandma got eye surgery, had perfect eyes ever since, and you need to watch that Unscripted, Xander. I will, brother. And what did you? So I guess your grandma got LASIK. That's my guess. Greg says I had LASIK in 1999. Lasted until 12. That's it. Wait, that's it? Is that all LASIK lasts for? 13 years? I'm sure it's obviously varies based on the patient, but geez. I was hoping it'd be like a lifetime fix. I'm 27. I'm going to have to get LASIK at 40, 55, 70. Jeez. I don't know about that. I might have to pass up on that one. Last until you get older. Keith, we need a lot of fact checking today, my friend. Camel Keith needs to become the fact checker for the chat. All right. We got a lot of that. Your eyes don't get better with age. Oh, I'm right. Thanks, my guy. Breaking news. Your eyes get worse as you get older. Most patients only need it once. 40 years old is a cutoff. Oh, okay. Is that the cutoff? All right. Uh-oh, I'm getting internet issues again. My show it lasted the whole show. Am I still here? Am I still working? 30 to 60. That's rich. Now that I can live with. That's a good run right there. That's a good run. All right, everybody. I appreciate everybody for being here today. I appreciate you guys being flexible too on the schedule. I couldn't get up at 8 a.m. I got the internet people out here yesterday. Guys didn't come till late in the day, which I wasn't upset about them or anything, but it didn't leave me any time to make an adjustment once I realized that he was not going to have an immediate solution for me. So I went over to Staples this morning. It didn't open till 8 a.m. And I got my cord that I needed that boosted it up a little bit, and I got it figured out. So it lasted better today, and hopefully it holds up strong. I'm only going to be here another maybe half the week next week. So we got the renters coming in next week, and then they're renting all summer. So all through the end of August, basically. So I'll be back to the studio in a week. Back to the studio in a week. Master Eagle says, have a great weekend, Big Dog Z. Master Eagle, you too, brother. You too, my man. I appreciate you for being here. I appreciate you for being here. Forget being known in the USA. I'm in the UK and try to drop in every day. Keith, I love you, brother. Thank you, man. Ian East is out over there in the UK as well. So we got viewers far and wide, baby. Far and wide here on JAKIB Sports. I love it. I love it. I appreciate each and every one of you. That's going to do it for this week of Birds 365. Listen, we had a good week of Eagles content. We had some interesting Zander times this week as well, right? I mean, we had interesting comment about Henry Ruggs. We talked about, we were talking about faith. We were talking about a lot of stuff. So we had, Keith called it what did you call it, Keith? The most, what did you call it, Keith? The most what Zander time to date, you said? Rich, you're right down by me, brother. North Wildwood. Is that where you are? You're right down by me, bro. Right down by me. I'm in Cape May. I'm in Cape May, the great Cape May. Yes, I am biased to Cape May. The deepest Zander time to date. There you go. Keith, thank you, brother. I appreciate all of you guys for being here, for checking in, for liking. Yo, how many likes are we at? 98? We didn't even get to 100? Oh, come on. I mean, you got to be kidding me. I'm not leaving until we get over 100. Come on. 99. I need one more. Come on. Hit it. Hit the like button. 99. Will it click to 100? 100. There we go. Thank you guys for the likes. You all stink. You do. Meet you at Harry's for a drink. Rich, right up the street. I'll be getting on a bike this afternoon and riding around Cape May as I do every day. It's my favorite thing to do. My favorite thing to do. Ride around. You look at the mansions. You look at all the people going to the beach. Everybody's so happy and chilling and the sun is out. Jersey Shore is a great place, man. It's my favorite place. I told you guys, if you guys help me get JAKIB to millions of subscribers or whatever the metric needed, which means Big Z can move to Cape May, I'm going to be moving to Cape May. That's where I'll live. All right. I'm happy down there. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Hit that like button. All the support doesn't go unnoticed. I appreciate you guys. See you next time, everybody, on Birds 365.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate inside the locker room and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.